There's 3 common mistakes that stroke survivors frequently make that may be increasing that flexor tone in your affected extremity. In this video, I want to address each of the common mistakes and how to correct them so you can have more success in your therapy. The first mistake I want to talk about is positioning. Now, typically, when we're sitting, our arms are flexed and we have a clasped hand where our fingers are flexed as well. And this is how we sit for the most part. And when we do engage in activity, usually it's right here in front of us. The same is true when we stand. Activities happen right here with the bent elbow and clasping of the fingers. Rarely are we doing activities where we're fully extended, our arms are fully extended and our fingers are fully extended out here. Most things occur here. So this is where the positioning becomes of value. You want to balance the flexion with extension. And that way you're letting your mind know that this is important as well. And it also helps keep those flexors stretched so they don't become as tight. So when you're sitting watching TV, or if you're sitting doing activity, if you're in conversation, if you're not functionally using that affected hand, get it out and away from your body. To demonstrate, you can get a couple pillows, put by your side, get that arm out, fingers straight, and you can set like this. Now, if you're having a hard time getting that arm away from your body, you can take another pillow and shove that between your arm and your body so it doesn't work its way in. Something else to consider, if your fingers tend to draw in, then you don't want to sit or stand for hours a day with those fingers in. This is when you can bring them out and perhaps take a ball to help extend those fingers, a large ball. If you have a resting hand splint, this would be a good time to wear it as well when you're resting. And some people also take a washcloth and roll up and put in their hand just so that hand doesn't automatically clench up. Now when you're lying in bed, you can use pillows to straighten those elbows out and straighten your fingers out. And you just want to do what's comfortable. But like I said before, try and get those arms away from the body and those fingers straight. The point to remember is that we want to balance the flexion with extension. And no, it may not always feel normal to have your arm in that position because, like I said, typically we're like this. But we're trying to retrain the brain that extension is just as important as inflection. The second common mistake that people make is typically in the hospital, you may not have much or no finger movement. And sometimes you're given a therapy ball and told to try and squeeze it. Wrap your fingers around it and try and squeeze it. And you may find that you can move those fingers a little bit. So then you really start squeezing that ball. You're just spending all day squeezing that ball. You're sitting watching TV, you're squeezing that ball. But what's happening? So you're spending so much time flexing and building up those flexors that you're not balancing it out with the extending the fingers. So the squeezy ball is great, go ahead and do it. But remember, whatever time you spent practicing flexion, you need to at least spend that much amount of time, if not more, in extension. So maybe squeeze that ball 5 or 10 times, do what you can, and then work on extending, reaching, spreading those fingers, getting those fingers up. And in my next video, I'm going to show you how to begin activating those finger extensors if you're not already doing that. The third common mistake that survivors often make is if you have a tight hand, is when you're trying to force that hand open and you're struggling and you're struggling and you're trying to get it open. And so what's happening? What's happening is you're strengthening that flexor synergy again, because those muscles are resisting you, they're tightening, and therefore they're strengthening. So if you can open your hand with relative ease, go ahead and do that. But if it's a struggle to get that hand open, then pay attention to this next technique, because it involves two things. One, it involves relaxing the flexor tone and then stimulating the extensors. So let me show you that. First thing you want to do is take the fatty part of your affected thumb and you're going to pull it out like this. Support that thumb in between your thumb and first finger. And let me just show you here, you're going to support your affected wrist with your unaffected hand. So it's going to look like this. Now the technique of rocking is an inhibitory technique. So you're just going to gently supinate and pronate that hand. Just gently, don't force it. And you're going to want to do this for 1 or 2 minutes. You'll be able to feel your hand, your wrist, your arm start to relax a little bit. And you just want to take it a little bit further each time if you can, but you don't want to force it. You can bring that arm out from your body and place your wrist over the counter or a table, keeping that thumb supported. Matter of fact, you can even bring your wrist here to support that thumb. You're going to go from the wrist to these joints and do 10 quick brushes. Then you're going to go from this joint to this joint and do 10 quick brushes. And then this joint to the ends of the fingers, 10 quick brushes. Still supporting that thumb. Then you're going to do the whole thing. At this point, keep supporting that thumb, and you're going to take your hand, then you're going to do a quick stretch. You're just going to bend those fingers quickly and let go. And that's going to help them come out a little bit. You can do that about 5 or 6 times. From there, you're going to take each of your fingers, grab your affected fingers, and then you're going to use your thumb and brush the tops of your fingers as you gently straighten them out. Just be sure you don't overstretch them. You just want to be grasping the very ends of your fingers as you're providing some stretch. So as I'm bringing the fingers up, I'm providing a quick stroke and I'm supporting my thumb. Then you can bring your arm back on the table. At this point, you can provide a good stretch to your hand. Just make sure it's away from your body and your fingers are flat. And you can begin, massaging it or even working on extension a little bit more. So hopefully this video will show you that positioning, the exercises you're doing, and the techniques you're using, how they either influence that flexion synergy or can help you work out of it. So thanks for watching, and until next time, we'll see you then.